Hello crafty friends, welcome back to my channel and my craft table. So excited you're here today because I have something really cool to show you. Recently I made a card with three-dimensional flowers. Let me show you what I mean. Check this out. Look at these beautiful three-dimensional flowers. Aren't they simply gorgeous? All right, so not only am I going to show you what I used to make these, but we're also going to make another card, and it's going to be a shaker, you know, one of my favorites. So let's go ahead and drop down to that craft table and get started. Okay, let me show you what I'm working with today. So again, this is the beautiful card that I made recently with these three-dimensional flowers. And this is just, I cannot get over these three-dimensional flowers. So here's what I used to make those. Spellbinders recently sent over this particular set. It's called Primrose, and this is the picture. It has 4 cutting dies, and that's it, just 4. Some leaves, some petals, and then the little stamens. And you can see here I have a bunch of extra pieces. So I threw in Gilmore Girls one day and just die cut a bunch of these, and I just keep them in this little pocket. So we're going to be using this, but I did already put them together because they take a little bit of a time, and I didn't want to waste the time on the video doing that. But I will show you how to make one of them. But the ones I'm using for the card, I already have those ready to go. I have an embossing folder. This is new to me. This was the January 2025. It's a past club kit, and it's just so pretty. It's called Faceted Petals. It almost looks like cobblestone in a way, but it's petals. So I'm going to be using that embossing folder. I'm going to be using these fun three-dimensional shaker domes, and I got these on one of the recent Spellbinders clearance sales. This is an emerald cut. Now, I don't have a die that's in the emerald shape, but I did cut out the opening using some nested rectangle dies. So that's what I did here, and I'll explain how I'm putting this card together. I also have some sequin, the flowers. I have a little sentiment here, and of course I'll be using the Barely Art glue. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to grab one set of the flowers out of this little pack, and I'm going to show you how easy these flowers are to put together. Okay, so I have all of my little elements here, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in for you so that you can really see what's going on. So I have 3 of the leaves. I have 2 sets of petals, and they are slightly different. I do have one of the stamens already glued together, but I am going to show you how that works. And then I've got a little bit of ink. So I like to go around the edges of my die cuts, especially with, you know, certain elements like flowers and things. It just lends to such better, the dimension is just so much better. Okay, so I'm going to take, this is Basil by Concord & Ninth, and I'm just going to tap off some, and I just go around the edges. I just swoop that right in there, and then go on the other side, just like this. Okay, so this is how I do all of my leaves. Okay, so all of my leaves are done. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of swipe over that ink and get that out of the way. And then next I'm going to be using Cayenne for the petals. Okay, and this is Spellbinders cardstock. I've got Sicily and Coral. So that's what these 2 colors are, Sicily and Coral. And then this one over here is Fern. It's one of my favorite greens, and it's just really pretty. All right, so with Sicily and Coral, I just sweep the cayenne here along the tips. And you can see how that just really deepens the color of the cardstock. It just looks so good. And believe it or not, it looks great on the coral. So I'm just using whatever's left on the brush and on the glass mat here. And you certainly do not ever have to, ink blend over your cardstocks, but I really like it. I think it's a great way to kind of give it a little bit of extra dimension to your card projects. Okay, we'll clean this up really good. And then while we're at it, this is just some rubbing alcohol, and I'm just using it to get off some of the excess ink. Okay, so my ink blending brushes don't go back to pre-inking pristine white, but they definitely last a lot longer. Okay. And by the way, that was just rubbing alcohol in case I did not mention that. All right, so here are our little pieces. Now I do already have, a little set of statements here, but I want to show you how those work. So what I like to do is I find some sort of, you can use tweezers. I do happen to have a little quilling, I guess I don't want to call it a pen, but I don't really know what else to call it. I picked this up at Michael's. I thought that I would try quilling, but I haven't done that yet. That's definitely on the bucket list of crafts to learn. I just love all the crafts, and I think paper crafts are so fun because it's paper and then you're taking it and turning it into something awesome. Okay, so what I do is I twirl it, and you can always do that with your tweezers. You don't have to use a quilling tool. So now it is, it looks like this. Okay, I'm gonna grab the top of my stamens over here with a pair of tweezers. And this is already kind of curled up on itself. And then I'm gonna put a tiny dot of glue right here. And then we'll let that sit for just a second to get tacky. I'm gonna fold it down where it's kind of hovering over the other one, and I'm gonna use the tweezers to pinch it, just like that. Okay, and then I just let that sit for a moment and it gets nice and glued together. All right, so a tool that I recently picked up, this is a chuckle. This is actually from Walmart. This is a fondant tool. So this is in their cake decorating now, and it was a trio pack like this. And I used this one. I have not used these. I'm wondering if that would be fun for like mixed media or something or other. It does have a pokey tool here on this end, so that's kind of handy. And on this end, it has like a little blade. It's not real sharp. So again, it's meant to work with fondant, so it doesn't need to be sharp. But what I like to do is pick either the larger end or the smaller end, and I put my cardstock on top of like a little towel like this, just to give it a place to land, somewhere soft. It kind of helps with the curling. And then I just come in here and I rub this tool over the leaves or the petals or whatever it is that I'm working with. And you can do the smaller side. And it really just kind of depends on what size of the, cardstock. And then you get this nice curved effect, and it just makes everything pop. Okay, so we'll do the other one really quick. And I just kind of rub it back and forth. I've also done like a swirling motion. I've tried it on my little silicone, tiny little piece of silicone mat. Yeah, I'm not real good at it. And then I've also just done it on top of the glass surface. And again, I'm not that great at it. And then for the leaves, I take the bigger end and I curl them up like this. So that's good. Once the leaves are curled up, I take the purples, I just take this and I go like this with the end of my leaf, just like that. I just grab the end, put my thumb on it, and then I just kind of twist it over. And that just, you don't have to do that, but that's something that I like to do. So now my leaves kind of have this, they have this wavy effect. And they just look so good. Okay, so next, this is just a cheap little silicone mat. I want to say I picked it up, I don't know, I might have picked it up at Michael's. I'm not sure. But what I like to do, again, getting our glue, is on these particular flowers, and you can flatten them out a little bit if you want. Oh, wow, guys, I think we just had a transformer blow. Did y'all see that? Did you see everything kind of flicker out? So essentially I take one and I put it on top of the other like that. And you just decide how you like the configuration. I kind of played around with it. This is how I feel that they fit together the best. And then I just take this one. This almost looks like a heart, and this looks like a trio. And I just stick that right on top of there. And then I'm just going to press that down for just a moment. All right, now while that is going, so the stamens are done, and I can really just use either one. You could wrap one around another. You could, I don't know that I would put two in there. But what I do like to do is I like to take my tweezers and just kind of open these up a little bit. So those are kind of open. And then I can save that one for another project. Then I'm going to put a really big glob of glue. This will dry clear, so I'm not real worried about it. And then I'm going to take the item, or the stamens here, and I'm going to set it down inside, kind of hold it with my finger and release my tweezers. And then I just put it somewhere so that it can dry. So that's what it looks like right now. Super nice. I just love that. Okay, we're going to set that aside. And then the leaves, once you put your flower where you want it, then you tuck your leaves in with your flower. All right, so that's how you make the flowers. And let's go ahead and get ready to build our card because I have most of it ready to go. Okay, so I spent some time making flowers, and I didn't really use a dark enough, well, some of them are kind of dark. I think I'm going to trade these out, or 3 of these out. I like these a little bit darker. And then I'll grab another one and 2 more. Okay, that might be too many leaves, but we've got our leaves here and our little flowers. Okay. And I'm going to clean this off here in just a second. Okay, so what I have now is I have an A2 card base. Now this is just side folding, and I've started doing a lot of side folding cards, not because I don't like the top folding cards, but because I send a lot of cards to veterans and elderly, and sometimes they can, not always, but sometimes they can have a little trouble with the top folding. All right, so what I did is I took some nesting rectangles and I cut out the rectangular size that I need to have this sit in here just like so. Okay, so this plastic edge, yeah, I'm gonna see some of it, but it's gonna be perfectly fine. And I'm gonna clean that with some alcohol here in a second. But I wanna show you something that is so super cool. And I just kind of stumbled across this yesterday. So here are the flower, like this is what I die cut it out of, right? And then here are some of the leaves. In another project that I'll be bringing to the channel, I just happened to really like the way the die cuts looked, and it kind of reminded me of a stencil. So I thought, oh, that's perfect. So I essentially decided that I was going to use these as a stencil. And I'm going to show you the coolest thing. Now this is going to be the background for my shaker. And I say shaker, it's almost like going to be like a little 3-dimensional terrarium. I'm going to put this down right here. I have 3 colors here that I've previously made. So I'm going to take super light colors. I have Harbor, then I have Lilac, Nectar, and Sprout. I'm sorry, not Harbor. I have Powder. And I am tapping off. I want this literally to be so light and ghosty almost. And I'm just going to start on the cardstock. And then I'm just going to give this a little wash of color. Smaller blending brushes are great in size for this one. The big fluffy ones would be even better as far as the ghosting effect. But let me see if I can, I don't know if you can you see that? It's really, really faint, which is exactly what I'm wanting. Okay, so this will just give like a little ghostly impression of these things. So there's blue, and then I could maybe do blue over here. And I'm randomly placing these down. Okay, I don't have a plan. Okay, I think this background looks really, really good. Let me bring that up closer so you can see that. Doesn't that look awesome? Okay, I'm really liking this idea, and I can tell that I'm probably gonna do this a lot more. It just, I don't have a stencil that looks like these flowers, so this is perfect. And then I'll just take these little die cuts right here, and I'll just put them in the front, and they'll be my little stencil for future projects. Okay, so we have our card base, our card panel, we have our shaker dome, we have our terrarium elements. I say terrarium, I guess it's more like, like a little greenhouse. But we're going to use this embossing folder, and I just want to give a little bit of dimension to the frame. And this is what it will look like. Isn't that so pretty? All right, so I'm going to bring in my Platinum 6, and I am going to open this up. We're going to be using the 3D embossing folder sandwich. So we need the platform base, which is this one. We're going to need the embossing folder with the paper, and then I need to grab my adapter plate. So let me grab that. Okay, now this isn't necessarily a directional design. So I'm just going to place this in here. I'm going to close the folder. And I'm just looking right now to make sure that I'm getting a good amount of the little embossing design. Okay, so platform A, my embossing folder, and my adapter plate. And then I'm just going to run this through. It felt very loose. Maybe I needed an extra plate. Oh, actually, no, it did great. When you run an embossing folder through, it should never feel like you're about to break your machine. Like it should go through smooth like you just saw there. So it's really important to look at the directions on your machine. And I absolutely love my Platinum 6. So I already have some 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive tape already around here in the perimeter. And I'm using that to hold on to this little shaker dome. I am still going to be using other adhesive, but at the same time, for right now, I need to get the shaker dome adhered to my front panel. And what I'm doing is I'm just lining this up. Okay, just enough so that I can pick this up and press the perimeter. Okay, so this is really just tacking this in place is essentially what I'm doing. Okay, and then this is going to go on just like that. And it'll be easy because I can just plop that right down there. Okay, so now we're going to get our little flower elements. We're going to get those. Oh, and I do have a sentiment. It says, sending you a meadow of smiles. And I thought that I would just add that right along here, along the bottom. And I might pop it up on some foam tape. Okay, so we have that. All right. So here are my 3 little flowers. And then I'll tuck in my leaves. Right. So right now I'm just doing a little dry fit. Okay, so something kind of like that, and I'll probably cut some more leaves down. So then I'm going to just take a little bit of glue right here along the base. Okay, and I'm going to press that down. Okay, now my leaves are adhered. So now we're going to put our flowers down. And then we'll cut some of these leaves and put a little bit more. I just find that the more foliage that I have, they just look so striking. Okay, I'm going to put that there for our inspiration. And then put a nice big glob of glue right there. Okay, so we're going to have this one here. And then, if you need to, you can always, bend the petals the way you want. So let's take a look at that. Do we feel like we need a tiny little spot of something like right there? Okay. And maybe one super tiny piece way over there. Yeah. Okay. I really like that. Isn't that so pretty? Okay, so now I'm going to bring in some of this sparkle sequin, and I just want to put some, you know, kind of around. I don't really want them like all over, but like maybe 2 tiny ones there. So we can find. Okay, how do we feel about that? Actually, I really like that. Okay, so that is good. Alright. And then I'm just going to do a really good amount of liquid glue around the cardstock border. I don't need to worry about the hexagonal shaker dome. Bring this a little closer to me so I can see it. Okay. All right, then I can just grab my little bone folder and press this down gently. I don't want to, you know, undo the embossing. So it looks like a shaker, but it acts like a terrarium. And I need to trim down my green panel because I feel like it's a little off. Right, so I'm going to use my long shears, and I'm going very slowly. And I'm just trimming it up so that I get as even a placement as possible. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I've placed one of my stickers on the back, and then what I want to do is, just like I would do my normal cards, is I'm going to give a little bit of an impression down here in the bottom using a stencil. Like again, that just kind of that ghostly and little blending in the corner. Okay, I think this looks really good. What an unexpected thing to find on the inside of your card. So when you open it, there it is. So pretty. All right, so let's get the card front on here. Now open this back up. And again, I think that I am just going to use some liquid glue. Okay. Mainly focusing on that perimeter, and then place these here, and then I just need to get this as centered as I possibly can. Okay, then I have a sentiment. In fact, I have like a whole pocket of sentiments, and you know, they're just, I've got a variety of companies in here, and it's just the sentiments that were printable. So I just printed them out and I put them all in a pocket. I do need to organize them, and then I just keep them and use them when I need a little sentiment. Now this is these are shaker strips actually. They have some nice dimension to them. And I'm using it because it's actually the perfect width. And I don't have to cut anything down. And give myself a little bit of liquid glue. And grab my tweezers. And then I thought I would put it like right over here so that I can cover up that seam. Not that it really matters, I guess. And it also balances out this. This is a little top heavy, so we're going to balance this out down here. Use this to kind of press that down. Nice and smooth. Here are the two cards. These turned out so good. First of all, this one was my attempt to play with the product and see how, it worked and if I liked it, all of that. I definitely did. On this one, I embossed a panel with another embossing folder. I think it's called Market Weave. I ink blended the background. I did white embossing of my sentiment, and then I did like a split wreath and some little embellishments there. So I think this is just great. This is definitely a card that I would hand to someone in person. I probably would not mail that unless it was like tucked in a package. Now this one is probably the most creative card I have ever made in the 30 some odd years that I have made cards. I just can't get over it. I think this one is my favorite. Let me know down in the comments which of these that you like, which one is your favorite. And don't forget to give the video a like, or better yet, hype the video. That really does help push it out to more people in the YouTube universe. All right, well, down in the description, I will be linking all of the supplies and materials that I used in today's video. Be mindful that some of them are affiliate links. That means that I get a small commission from the company if you click the link and place an order, but there is no extra charge to you. And that allows content creators like myself to continue to put out lots of crafty content and inspiration. So I greatly appreciate it when you do use the links. And until I see you in the next card or craft, as always, have an amazing day and happy crafting. Hello, crafty friends. Thanks for making it to the end with me. I'm so glad you were here to share in the crafty fun. Here are a couple more videos that I think you might find inspiring. And don't forget to like, comment below, and subscribe. So until I see you in the next video, have a great day, and as always, happy crafting.